think it was at the end of the spring, you guys sat down and had a conversation that really inspired him. Do you remember that talk? I think it was just kind of like an exit interview type deal.
Yeah, I think I mean, the guy had an incredible spring, and he's had an incredible summer. He's had an incredible preseason camp, and he's playing incredibly well right now. So I think talks are talks. I think he took a talk to action, and I don't know if there's any magic words. I think he just became a guy that really was motivated and sincere about this team and wanted to be as good as he can be.
What did you say to him?
I don't specifically know. I just know that we sat and visited about opportunity, and that's usually what guys look for. I think the big thing was just the concept of how much he could help this team and how important it was, and that football's really got to become important to him. And if it does, he's going to be a special dude, and that's what he did.
Was it maybe not important to him, or as important as it needed to be before?
I think Young does some of that. I think the youth of us all of, hey, I've got all kinds of time. My time will come. It's all good. I think when you're a talented guy, sometimes someone has to say to you, you know what, you're really a talented guy. Your time is now. And I think, he took it to heart, and he's been playing like crazy.
What was missing from his game before that now he has?
I don't know. And again, I think the preparation, like Coach talks about all the time, I think the process stuff, again, how important daily life is, how important eating is, how important sleeping is, how important studying film is, the importance of your role, and again, now is the time, and don't sit around and wait.
Does he seem more motivated, more hungry right now?
Oh, I think he's always been a hungry guy. I think he's always been a motivated guy. I just think it all needed to get channeled of the fact of, how important really is it for me right this second. The sense of urgency, I think, has gone up for him. And that's what I would say improved.
Did you expect this type of start to
Sure,
the season for him?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, I think he's really a talented guy. That's why we did what we did and we moved him, and felt like we had 3 solid dudes and had to find a way to get all of them on the field. And Willie's been doing a great job at Sam. It's new to him. Joe and Mike and him and Will, and those guys are just getting better and better and better.
How do you kind of track the growth and progression of the defensive line through 2 weeks, and versus maybe what your expectations were at the end of
those
fall camp?
guys played extremely hard the other night. Physical football game. As physical presence, I think, is that I've seen since I've been here. Guys coming off the football and getting vertical penetration and taking on blockers and doing it on the other side of the line of scrimmage. So I think they're improving immensely every single day. We've got a long way to go to get where we want to get, but the process has been really good.
When it comes to, you mentioned that channeling that motivation, how different is that for every guy, and is it kind of on the player to really make that work?
Yeah, I think because we're all different.
Yeah.
I think we all standing here would sort something out a little bit different and go about it a different way. The key becomes at the end of the process is all the same. And I think, young guys, again, it's as my dad used to say, that, sometimes young people can only see as far as the end of their nose. And it's really all the way out there to what you better see. And I think that's really what happens. And I think the kids that can, some vision of what's really out there and what can become, I think those guys figure it out and move on.
Which game film tells the story more about the Akron offense, that first game or that second game? Something in between?
I think something in between. I think, there's really good stuff at Penn State. They were really good stuff. We watched as much as we could from a year ago. We watched Marshall and Wisconsin. We watched them all. We've done a full study on them and watched every single game, every play, and they went through some different quarterbacks a year ago, so that part of it's different. We've tried to find the ones where, the ball's in there and those guys. So I think the biggest thing is just, again, I think getting back focused on what we do, and then at the same point in time understanding what they do, because some's different, but a lot of it is stuff that we see on a daily basis.
Coach Campbell's talked about the need for more depth to keep guys fresh at the end of games. How do you develop that?
Just reps and practice, and again, get guys their sense of urgency. And sometimes it's hard because you don't see yourself as that guy. And you've got to make it important as a coach. We've got to do a little bit better job of throwing them in there and saying, hey, it's kind of the old, we learn how to swim by getting thrown in the water. And our guys have to realize it's going to happen really fast, and I think if they'll do that, we'll get better and get some depth there. Because I think we have some. I really do. I think there's some talented young guys out there floating around. We got to get them, in line and do what we're doing.
Coach Campbell had alluded to that yesterday, just the number of snaps those guys played when you talk about missed tackles or things like that. So when you digest the film, you kind of approach it a little bit differently with them knowing the wear and tear that where it came out of that game.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think you do. I think it's been 2 emotional games. I think you're crazy if you don't understand it. Those long plays, we got to, it's our job to get off the field and, not be out there so long. But at the same point in time, when we are out there, we've got to have some guys that you feel like you can trust and go in there and play. And I think we have them. I don't think we don't have them. I think there's just a little bit of a process, and some of them got that sense of urgency we just talked about. Some guys got to gear this thing up and, like practice like my football life depends on it, and because it does.
Are you feeling more comfortable with Tongamoa getting more and more chances now?
I think so, but I think a lot of those guys, I think, we just got to continue to work all those kids in there, and the more reps you get. I mean, the guy missed summer. I mean, that's, we're trying to speed up a process that's hard to speed up, and you want it to, and he wants to, and he works at it, and, it's just, that's one of the processes that's hard to speed up, but he's getting better for sure.
All right, Coach, thank you.